Sadiq, and I'm here to hopefully share and talk to you about why do we need to feel to use sliders. There's a pro and there's a con to using them. Okay, I'm not totally against them, but we are going to go into the good and the bad about them. Now, please do join in with the chat on the right-hand side, and please do ask questions, and we'll try and answer them as we go along. I'm your man Sadiq, by the way, Web Squadron. Please do follow. Do go to our YouTube channel if you want to learn about Elementor, like and subscribe. And don't forget, you know, we're on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, lots of places. Do come along and join in with us. So let's just cover off straight away what we're talking about. By the way, I have redone my office area. And if the lights are a bit too bright for anyone, please do let me know, because I'm still trying to work out what's the best way to do it. So, sliders. There was a time where, hey, hi from South Africa, Petrus. Great to. Thanks for joining in. So, quite a good while ago, sliders came out in the web world, okay, and they became like the in thing for everyone wanting to have on their website. I would say 90% of the clients that we come to us or we work with, one of the first requests they have is we want a slider. We want our logo, we want our menu, and we want a slider. And often I kind of go, okay, what do you want to show in the slider? And it's always a bit like, well, we want to show off photographs. We want to show off our hotel rooms. We want to show off us, the countryside, whatever. And we want to have about 10 sliders. And every single slider is going to have a bit of text on it. And it might have a button, a call to action. But most of the time it's going to be images and a bit of text. And often what they don't realize is that yes, it's okay to have sliders, but have they really thought about the impact that can have on the performance of your website, your SEO on your website, and do people really care about sliders? So I want to make it really clear, I'm not against them. And I feel if there is a need to have them and it works because of your branded message or what you're trying to get across, I would say, yeah, let's go for it. But does it really work for you? Okay, now, what I find quite funny is that a lot of WordPress themes out there, a lot of templates, they all seem to have a slider at the top. It's almost like they put one in because they feel like they want to show something that is kind of not dramatic, but it kind of gets across a certain message. And I often feel like I wish theme developers would stop doing that, because if they stop putting a slider at the top of the page, a lot of people that are building a website won't always want to put a slider in. Now, let's go over some facts, okay? A study was done about 8 years ago, and the study found, and they actually checked with about 24, whatever, close to 25,000 people. And they found that only 1% of the viewers looking at the website bothered to click on the slider. Now, you're going to say, well, that was then and this is now, and it was the wrong 1%. And I know we would have 10% using it. And yes, it is very, very subjective. Everything is. But when I go to a website and I see sliders, they either go too quick, they either go too slow, because I didn't realize it was a slider and I was reading and then suddenly it slid, or it kind of tries to give across too much information. And I'm sat there watching this slider and I'm going left and right on it with my finger. And at no point am I anywhere near a call to action button. So what am I sliding for? What was the benefit of it? And I have made some notes in. I want to make sure I cover off quite a few things, but do ask questions. And if you disagree, do let me know, because there is no right or wrong answer. You know, the world is round, the world is flat, the world is round. Okay, the world is not flat. Let's just nip that one in the bud right now. But if you think it's flat, good for you, but it's not flat. Sliders can confuse people. Okay, so let's say you've got a website and you're, I don't know, you're a dog trainer. You train dogs and you've got sliders going across the screen. You might have one slider that talks about your experiences, another slider talking about your awards, slide, talking about awards, another slide talking about the different types of dogs, another slide that is just going to be you walking in the countryside, another slide which is just, I don't know, a cliff with a dog right at the top that you found as a stock image. You were like, I really want to have that. As a viewer, I've already taken some interest to come to your website via a link, or maybe I found you on Google, or you were referred to me. So I'm going to go to your website and there's slides going across. And I'm going to stop and read them or not. I might not click, I don't know. But I might lose interest at that point because the images might not be the greatest quality. They may be pixelated or blurred. Maybe the text you've got on there was very mundane and monotone and seriously boring. And I'm switched off. I'm not, I'll forget this. I'll just quickly hit back. Because you have to remember, well, I don't know about you, but when I'm doing a search for something and I find loads of results on Google, I don't just go to the first one. I'll right click about 7, 8 of them, open a new tab, and I'll go through the tabs really quickly. And the first couple that make me go, yeah, I like that, I'll keep them. And the rest that I don't like, I get away from. And if you've got a slider that's just given across lots of information and I'm having to now study it, it kind of deactivates my tiny little brain, okay? So stay with me on that. Only 1% actually use them, and it can confuse people. You could be using slides when you have a shop, and every slide is an offer. Hey, look at these trainers, 20% off. Look at this bag, 30% off. Look at this tracksuit, 89% off. Have it for free. I'm not going, what do I go for? What do I go for? What do I click? Do I click this? Do I click that? Again, elements of confusion can start to trickle in. And on top of that, it can slow down your site. Now, it doesn't completely slow down your site. So you've got to think outside the box here. It's going to slow down your site because you've got lots of images and stuff gumped up at the top. But it's also going to slow down your site for the viewer because the viewer has to pause to study it. I think I've done that to death now about the studying bit, haven't I? And I don't think I brought my phone with me, so hopefully it doesn't go off. But what you also got to remember is that when you are viewing a website, okay, hey Mark, good evening. When you are viewing a website, whether it's on a desktop or a laptop or on your phone, your slider is now above the fold. So any juicy information, which is really about the basis of this website, what do you offer? What are people going to gain from you? It's kind of below the fold. You're now expecting people to slide down or even scroll down to see what you're all about. Hey, John, good to see you again. Glad you're here. Yes, and thanks for saying hi to everyone else in the chat. John's a really cool guy. This is his 3rd week in a row now. I should be handing out badges that I will send out. John, you deserve one. So if you've got lots of slides going across the top and they're giving snippets of information, the real headline might be further down. And I might not never see that because I might go, oh, I can't be bothered to scroll down. I'm leaving this website. Or your headline is in the slide. It is there. Okay, so what are we worried about? You don't have to scroll, it's there. But if your slides move every 5 seconds, your headline's gone. So if I was still debating whether I was going to use you or your services or what you're about, I may forget what you said there. It's not there long enough for me to register and stick in my head. Okay, I've had some clients that have said, we want the slides to move every 3 seconds. And I was like, but that's pretty quick. You know, it's like you won't even get past the first line of text and it's gone. Or I had some that said, I want it to be on there for 10 seconds. And I went, yeah, but the viewer, they'll start reading it and then it will move all of a sudden. And they might not have realized it was a slide. And like, that would be annoying. You know, when you're on a website and you're reading it and then all of a sudden a pop-up slides in, they're the most annoying. I always say that if you're going to have a pop-up, have it within at least a few seconds of landing on the page. Don't do that annoying thing where after 15 seconds it pops in, because I'll be like, whoa, what are you doing? What are you doing? Go away, go away. You know, so have a think about that. So like I said, if you've got your slide above the fold, you're stopping them from seeing the real key information that you wanted them to see further down. And why do you need to have slides? And I want you to just stop and focus on this question, okay? You're a photographer and you want to get across, you do all of these images. So you're going to try and put loads of images on a slider. What is wrong with just one strong image. I am going to come on to when you should use sliders, but right at the top of the page, why do you have to have more than one image? When you go to view the photographer's offices, or when you see them in a magazine, or when you find them on Google, right? And there might be a screenshot or a JPEG of them. It's just one image, right? It's like we sometimes are quite peculiar human beings in when we can make decisions based on one image. So I would say pick your strongest image, right? Leonardo da Vinci is a good friend of mine, by the way. Mona Lisa, most famous painting. Would we have a slider on a Leonardo da Vinci website which had he did tons of brilliant images and pictures, right? Yep, we're agreed on that. Do we have all of them on a slider? Because then it's like, well, I've just given you away all of the good stuff about Leonardo in the slider, so why should you bother looking further on? Or would you have Mona Lisa? Or would you have one of his concept drawings on, or something like that? Maybe you're an architect. Wouldn't you want to have your strongest, what is the one thing that people are going to always remember you for? You'd want that. Now, I did say you could still use sliders. And I would say the slider with more architectural pictures, more paintings, more photographs, have it in the middle or a bit further down. Because now if the viewer scrolls down and you've got a slider that gives further info, they're probably not going to mind so much. They have invested the time to use the finger. They have scrolled down, or they've done it with their eyes. I don't know, can you get a phone that scrolls with their eyes? Probably in some secret location you can. But they have now invested the time. So I would say your strong image, your headline, your hero banner, your call to action button, click me, find out more. You know, look at some examples, testimonials, whatever. They've invested that time. Now below have your slider. It's going to work for you better because it will also have, well, it's going to improve your performance. And I will come on to that in a moment. So photographs, we've covered that. So again, going back to why did you not choose to have just one image? If I were, okay, let me give you an analogy. If I go into, how to explain it? This is probably not a great analogy. If I go to meet you and I say to you, tell me about yourself, tell me about your business, tell me about a book you've written, tell me about your movie, your song you've composed. You normally have what's known as an elevator pitch. So you're going to reel off a 2 sentence summary, really quick, right? An elevator pitch. You've walked into an elevator, someone's there. Hey, what do? You're going to quickly tell them what you do because by the time you get to floor 3, they're out the door and you've gone that way. You're able to describe yourself in a succinct, concise way, right? What you're not going to do is say, this is my book. This is what it's all about, start to finish. Here's the character arc, every single chapter. Oh, and I've done book 2, book 3, book 4, book 5, book 6. You get the drift? Yeah. You're going to focus on the key thing that you want to get across. One image, one hero banner at the top is your elevator pitch, right? If you put a slider at the top, so now I'm giving you everything in one long spiel, gurgling it out. That kind of says to me that you lack focus, or I lack focus, because I could not put my finger on the 1 or 2 things that are really key and important about me. Instead, I had to give you everything. And again, that goes back to what I said earlier. You're giving away everything in the top. You want to reel them in, entice them, but leave the slider further down. I've already mentioned about the quality. I've been onto some websites where the sliders, you have a few good images, really polished, and then you have some where they're blurry. And again, that switches me off. Or the images are nothing to do with the website. So if you're a photographer and you decide you're going to put on some pictures of, say, wedding photographs, you might have a few and you might go for a theme like a green theme. And you'll have that on a few of the slides. And then you'll have one slide, which will be red and yellow. because it's of someone sitting on top of their car, leaning back. Hey, look at me. And it jars because now it does not flow with your previous slides. I hope this makes sense. You know, you're going, you want to kind of set a pattern, because the very first few slides you have, it's going to register in my head. And if suddenly you then jump to a completely different topic in that slide, it kind of throws me, right? If you've got a shop and you've got slides, white background, white background, white background, black background, neon pink background, it kind of jumps, doesn't it? So for consistency, you need to have a think about your images. And if you're not careful, if you've got like a white banner or a certain color of logo, and then you got images that conflict with your header, right? It's going to go, it's going to suddenly make things look like you haven't thought about the presentation a bit. And what I mean by that is you might go for like, you might have a really colorful header, and then you got a grayscale image. I'd be like, well, why have you gone for grayscale image in your slider when you got colorful banner? Or you've got a very light banner or header at the top. It's kind of like just white and black, say. And then you got these really powerful colors in the slider. That's okay, as long as you maintain consistency and as long as it fits with the color theme or the palette you're trying to put together. I'm sure you will see some websites out there where the colors are all over the place and you start to go, well, is the theme red? Is it yellow? And I know it's not the crunch, you know, it's not the, you're not going to make a decision completely on, are you going to buy something from this shop website? If you wanted to buy something, you're going to buy it regardless. You know, it's not going to turn you away, but it could turn away some people. I'm very pernickety about things like this. And if I start to see that a website's not been thought out very well, you can be pretty sure I'm going to just switch off and go elsewhere. Transparent headers, right? Let's say you got a slider, okay, and you've got your header with your logo and your menu overlapping onto the slider, right? So you got your slider image, okay, and you got your header over it. What if your image is of the countryside? So stay with me on this. Imagine you got a countryside slide, right? Your very first slide. You got the grass, you got the trees, you got a bit of a lake, lovely flowers, the odd sheep, and you got clear blue sky. Clear blue. It's a bluey sky, but it's very clear with no clouds. So it's very white at the top, okay? And your logo is in white. And your menu is in white font, right? And you got a completely transparent header. You may not now see the logo or the menu very well. Of course, we have got videos on how when you scroll down, it can have a transparent background. It can change the background color. There are ways to do that. But if you haven't thought this out properly, if you don't ensure that all of your images are dark at the top with either a background overlay, okay, remember you put in your image or your slider on the section and you put a background overlay like a transparent dark color. If you don't do that, your logo and your menu may now be a little bit fully transparent and you can't really see it on the slide. And we've worked with clients that don't listen to us too much about that, and they still want it, so we go with it and we do say, but it's not clear. And I've seen websites that do that as well, and it's always an afterthought. They go, oh yeah, I didn't really realize that. And oh, it doesn't matter. By the time you get to slide 3 of the 20, it's all dark. It doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter. Okay, yes, it should matter. Because if I'm looking at your website, everything has to be clear. Okay, stop creating doubt or paranoia. Where's the header gone? You know, I've got a virus. No, it's just disappeared. So you need to have a think about that. What about, what does it look like in the mobile? It is so easy to have a website which looks good on the desktop. Okay, looks fine. You've got your sliders going across. Okay, you then get to the mobile. So imagine this is the mobile now to scale. Roughly, that's how big it would probably be. Okay, you got your mobile. And now the slider does not look so good. What do I mean by that? You got a horizontal image on the desktop. and you may have someone standing here, and then they got a bit of a background, and this background, which is quite plain because you've got someone here, you have your text, you have whatever, and you might have a button as well, for all I know. Okay, on the mobile, slim down. The person may now be in the center, right? Now your text is overlapping on the person. Now it's not so clear. When you do a section, or when you do a background, when you do the styling of the background in a section in Elementor, you can change the image for the desktop and the mobile and the tablet. You know this, right? It's in our videos. So you put an image on Elementor section background. You can then go to tablet mode and change it to be just for the tablet. You go to mobile, you can change it again. You don't create a new section. You can change the image. So you're sorted for page speed insights on the mobile. That's how you keep your page speed insight score high for the mobile. Got it? You change your image accordingly for the size of the screen. You don't need it to be that big. It only has to be that big. But when you do slides with Elementor and a lot of other add-ons as well, you don't have that luxury. Okay? You have your image, and then when you go to view it in a mobile, it's gonna scrunch it up, cut a bit off to the left or the right or the center or whatever, and you can't pick a different image. And again, you might say, yeah, who cares? Believe me, it does impact on your page speed insight score. And I will come back onto that in a moment. When you add a slider with Elementor or anything, okay, it is not just a simple widget plopped onto your website. It's a bunch of JavaScript code, okay? Because sliders are quite clever devices in how they work. All right, it's not just an image, it's a bunch of images that will contain a bunch of text and a bunch of buttons. It's pretty clever in what it does. I've always thought they are. But you're dumping JavaScript to the top of your page. And if you care about your page speed insight score, about what's happening above the fold before you scroll on a mobile phone, that JavaScript will have an impact on your page speed insight score, which I just said. So what can I tell you about page speed insight? Now, I did an experiment with 2 designs, and I'm going to show you that. So just stay with me as I open up these 2 pages, and I'm going to share them with you. I'm not sure how this is going to look, so I really, really hope this works. Okay, so share screen, and let's try this one here. So I'm going to ask someone, can you see this screen? If you can see this screen, can you just drop a message into the chat line and say, yes, you can see it? Actually, you can see it. There you go. It's all right. You can see it. So I can see you now. Great. Right. So this page here has a banner image at the top. It's not a slider. It's just an image, right? Headline text, button. You've got a logo. You've got social sharing icons and menu. And then down here, we have a slider. I just rushed this through. Okay, so don't look at it and go, oh, these images are horrendous. Yeah, they are horrendous, but I was just doing an experiment, right? I put a slider at the bottom. I then did this page as well. Okay, so let me just share the next page, which will be page 2. Here we go. So this now is exactly the same page, but the difference is the banner is now below the slider. Okay, so now we got the slider below, right? So let me just share back again to my, sorry about this, because I have to keep jumping pages on here. Right, so I've gone back to page 1. So page 1 is hero banner, slider. Page 2 is slider, hero banner, right? Does that make sense? We just flipped it around. When I created this page with just the logo and the menu and the footer, so there was nothing in here except the logo, the menu, and the footer, the page speed score was 99%. 100% on the desktop, page speed insights, and 99% on the mobile. Yes. Okay, so I was pretty happy with that. I didn't get 100% because your server will always, you know, you can't predict your server speed, but it was 99%. Pretty good. I then added in this banner, right? Image, header. Look, it's just a header. We've got a header. We have another header there. We have a button and we have an image, right? And this image, remember, like I said, okay, if we viewed it in mobile mode, this it looks like the same image, but it's a different sized image, right? I just want to remind you again, in case anyone isn't clear on this, but when you go to the section and you go to style over here, you can pick a different sized image. You don't create another section. You can pick a different sized image for your mobile. So that's a really key tip for your page speed insights. Right. So on both pages with the banner, the score, the page speed insights went to 98%. Okay, it dropped a little percent, but it was still 98%. Okay, and again, I think it was down to the server speed because sometimes I still hit 100%, but 98%. Again, I was happy. What now happened when I added in the slider? So page 1 is the slider at the bottom. Am I right? Yes, slider at the bottom. And page 2 was the slider at the top. As soon as I added in this slider, the score went down to 79%. I ran it again, and a few times it hit 84, 86%. But the average overall was 79%. Sometimes it dropped down to 70. I took it off, ran it again, and I was back up to 97, 98%. So that was hitting me for nearly 20%. On page 2, where we had the slider at the top and the hero at the bottom, below it, the page speed score, believe it or not, was roughly the same. The lowest I ever got it to was 74%, but then it did sometimes jump up to 85, 86. Again, server speed can affect things. What am I trying to get across here? Hello, I'm back. What I'm trying to get across is that, hi, Virginia. Sorry, I didn't see your name because I was doing my jumping around the screens. But what I want to get across is that as soon as I added in a slider, whether it was above the fold or below the fold, it hit the page speed insights. And I wasn't horrified, but I did kind of go, this does make you think a little bit, right? So sometimes I've been asked via the Elementor Facebook group, please join if you're not there, and the Elementor Community Hub. If you haven't enrolled onto that, please get onto that as well. I've had a few requests from people who've said, can you please review our website? Or can you please tell me why, even after I have put in the optimization tools like Auto-Optimize, WP Fastest Cache and all of that, why am I still getting like 60% on the mobile? The images are WebP. They've done all their optimization of that. Why am I still getting a low score? Usually it's because they've got too much JavaScript on their pages. So you have to kind of just tweak their optimization plugin. But a lot of them have a slider and inner sections. Do not overdo inner sections. Too many inner sections is just too much. Okay, it's like unraveling your intestines and throwing them in the air. No, don't overdo inner sections. Okay, but sliders. And when I took the slider off or I hid it out of view, I then ran the score and went, there you go, your score's jumped up by about 15, 16%. Do you want to keep it? You make the decision. I'm just letting you know. So I just want to point out that we've built websites where the page speed score is 100% on the mobile. Yay! But there's no slider. And I try to remove the need to have a slider because it will give you a bit of a hit. But if the client really, really wants it, I will then try and steer them to say, okay, have the slider further down. It's still going to hit your page speed insight score. However, it's less confusing for anyone viewing your website. They're not going to get stuck in like a time warp, just going left, right, left, right. Oh, no, I missed it. Oh, no, I read it. Oh, no, stop, stop, stop. You know, they don't have to worry about that. But don't have to worry about the fact that you got these arrows and dots at the top of your page and they kind of go, well, should I click that? Or is that one different? And stuff like that. If they want to see important stuff, they'll see it further down the page. And I'm a firm believer in that. You know, testimonial carousels, logo carousels, this is great stuff. But they're always kind of middle of the page. bottom of the page, because that's where they should go anyway. But there's no reason why you can't have your gallery down there as well, for your portfolio, for your photographs, for your products. I did a video on QI add-ons. It is an amazing plugin for Elementor, okay? I use Elementor Pro. I love Elementor Pro. I don't like to use third-party plugins unless I really have to. QI add-ons is my favorite, okay? Because it has got some brilliant sliders. So here I am saying don't use sliders, but there are some really good product sliders. If you've got a shop and you want to showcase some of your featured products or whatever, you got to look at QI add-ons. I'm telling you, it is really good. But again, if you were going to use that, don't put it at the top, put it near the middle, or after you've done the headers and the banners or whatever about your shop, okay? If I was selling mobile phones, which I am not, so don't anyone contact me for a mobile phone, but if I was selling mobile phones, I'll have a slider about the different phones, middle of the page, but at the top, I will have a picture of my flagship phone, and then I'll have some, like either an image or headers or whatever saying this does this, it's got this value, it's got this quality camera, memory, whatever about the phone, yeah? Screen resolution, things like that. That is going to probably hook someone more than a slider which goes, hey, look at this iPhone, hey, look at this Samsung phone, hey, look at this Nokia phone, because I'll be like, well, okay, yeah. Again, I really want to be honest in that I don't have anything against sliders. Half the time when I'm walking around, I'm sliding quite a bit. I don't know why, it's the youth in me. I like to slide around. But just have a think about, is it really needed? Sometimes sliders can break, okay? So I think it was about 5 or 6 weeks ago, Jetpack had an update, and their update basically broke the sliders for Elementor. And I must have gone through a period of about 2 weeks where on the Facebook Elementor group, I kept putting in a bit of CSS code that someone found, and then, we shared it around, and it told people how to kind of get the Elementor slider to work. It was not Elementor's fault. Jetpack released an update which slightly buggered it up a bit. They then released another update that fixed it. However, sliders, JavaScript, they are prone to breaking sometimes. You may go to a website and it's not sliding. Full stop. It's just not sliding. It's just stuck there, static, because it's just got stuck for some reason, or it doesn't go across the screen properly. You've got it set to fit across the width of the screen, but it's kind of in the middle or to the left or to the right. That happens. And again, you don't want your website to look unprofessional, right? And I've kind of covered this off, just to make sure I didn't miss this. Yeah, I just think sliders can be a little bit distracting. Now, does anyone have any views on that at all? Please pop your question if you or a view you have about sliders, because they do have their place. They can work really well. I just think that we just need to think a little bit differently about how we use them now. And rather than having it at the top of your shopping list, I must have a slider and it must have 10 images and it must do this at the top of the site. I would say, speak to your clients and try and advise them to just change their way of thinking. Because if it's going to impact on your page speed insight score by 20% or so, the further away it is from the top, the better, because your mobile speed score does matter. Your page speed insight score, Google is going to start using that within their algorithms. Some people say, we don't believe you, it's all fake news. No, they will be using it, and you don't want your website to get hurt by that. I mean, Elementor sliders, for me, are pretty cool, I think, anyway. So don't use them at the top, but do use them. I mean, if I just share the screen on the first one that we had over here, there we go, this slider here. Sliders in Elementor, they're pretty simple, really. You have the functionality over here, slides, you just dump it in, it will give you a solid color. And the great thing about it is, let's just get rid of 2 of them so we only have 1. You just click it and you pick your background image. Let's go for this image here. Okay, and you can decide if it's a cover or the contains are never a good idea on a slider. I never understand why would you want to have that. You can have the Ken Burns effect. So can you see that as each slide moves across, it just Ken Burns in. Did anyone ever meet Ken Burns? If anyone knows Ken Burns, say hi to him. He's everywhere he is these days. And decide if it's zoom ins or out. And you can have a background overlay as well. Okay, so you can add a bit of a darker color, etc. And, you know, overlay, screen, multiply, all of those things as well. And in terms of the content, it is quite good. You can add a button, you can add header, you can add text, you can even add, well, you can add a link in as well for the button. However, that being said, 6 slides and they've all got a separate button is really, really, really annoying for me, okay? Because it's like you want to click on the button and then the slide's gone. And now you've got to use a click to drag it back again. Too many clicks is never a good idea, okay? And of course, with slider options, you can also, you know, mess around with the speed as well. I sometimes say to people, if you are, you know, if you are keen on doing a slider and you want to show multiple slides, so not just have 1, but you want to have 2 or 3 slides, you're better off using the Testimonial Carousel, which is this one here. Okay, you want to set this to be, oh, there it is, slides to view. So we'll have 3 slides, okay? And what you do is inside of each one of these, rather than having text or an image or a title or anything, what you want to do, get rid of this image as well. What you want to do within that slide is go to Elementor, go to templates, create a template with your content, looking however you want it to look, then dump the shortcode into here. Because what that does is that gives you the ability to have different looking slides, okay? So if you are using it further down the page and you want to show off certain products, or maybe you want to show off a product with a buy now button or add to cart, then you'll have another slide which is like a promo about stuff that's coming up. Then you got another slide which is, I don't know, maybe you've won a recent award or something like that. I've just won an award, the most amazing website in the world. God, we'd all wish we'd won something like that. But that's another great way to use it. So I don't always jump to using the slides option. Okay, I try to be a bit more like, think about what is available. But if you do want to add a slide, oh no, I've lost my page. Let me scroll down. Let me scroll down. It's pretty functional in what you can do. And you know, there is so much you can do with the layout as well with slides. So don't feel like I'm saying don't use them. Because I think Elementor have done a really good job on how they present the slides, okay? There's other add-ons out there that will make the slides do a lot more. Strata plugin for slides. There's also Prime slides. They're really good. And one of the common ones is like Slide Revolution and all of those ones. And they do good stuff. But sometimes I do feel, I'm just going to stop showing the screen here. Sometimes I feel like they do a bit too much and they give you a lot more options. So they'll have the option where rather than going left and right in your slide, you now go up and down. You know, you have the options and they'll be on the right-hand side, roughly here. You'll have the buttons here. If you've got a user or a viewer, and no disrespect, I am not an ageist. I want to get this across. But let's say you got someone in their 70s or 80s and they're used to the slide effect, okay? And then you give them a slide, which is like the buttons here, right? They might not realize that now it works like that. Or they do that to scroll down. And instead of scrolling down, and this got me on a website a few days ago, and it annoyed the hell out of me. You scroll up and the slide moved instead. In fact, this person, what they had done is they built the website with a slide and they had done it within an inner section and they had done a sticky column. The sticky column means that, you know, you're scrolling, but the slider did not go until you got to the bottom of the column. So either side of the column, they had invisible stuff. There was nothing there, which meant you could not get to the next section until you had scrolled through 6 slides. What kind of maniac vision of a website was this? That was a reason, I have to be honest, that they were trying to tell a story. Like, you know, this is where we started. This is our first business. This is how we grew. This is where we got to. But to be honest, this was on their homepage. Leave that for your about page, right? So I'm just saying, be careful over how you present things and don't overdo. Don't start to use funky plugins, because it's different if you're now disrupting the way we look at websites. Let me explain that. If you have a business idea, you want to be disruptive. You want to do something that changes the status quo, the unicorn, the difference that makes people flock to you because you are doing something spectacular. However, with websites, you don't want to be too disruptive, right? So you have a menu. What you don't want is when you click on a menu option, instead it starts to play a video. Because I'm like, huh? The menu's meant to take me to a page. What are you doing? You don't want to overdo things. And that's why I just say, if you're going to do a slider, yes, there are loads of add-ons, but just stop and think, do I really need it? And if you're going to add in a slider where rather than it just sliding in, it now appears on the screen, for instance, or it blends in through the smoke or whatever, and there's loads of stuff going on now, you are adding to the bloat at the top of your website. And I know everyone likes to blame Elementor for this, but I'm telling you, we are hitting 99 to 100% on loads of websites, okay? If you think carefully about your performance and layout and structure. So you can hit that. But the minute you add in a slider, 20% lost. You add in lots of motion effects. That's probably going to hit you for another 15%, I reckon. Before you know it, you're scraping 1% off the table for your website. So just have a think about that. And I'm just going to check if there's any questions coming in here. Oh, yeah, Petrus. Yeah, so true. What bit were you saying that is so true, Vovo? I'm trying to think now. Oh, a minute ago. Yeah. So have a stop and think about that. Now, can we so okay, there's a growing view with a lot of people out there or other developers and people I speak to that sliders will never go out of fashion. They're always going to be here. And if someone really wants to come to your website, does the slider matter? There's a point I made last week, and it's like Apple, Microsoft, you know, River Island, all of these shops out there, okay? Samsung, if they want to stick a slider at the top and it slows down the page, say, it affects their page speed insight score, it tries to give across too much information, and it scrolls too quickly, is it going to stop you going to their website? And the answer is no. You are still going to go, right? Because you went there for a reason, okay? So when you have a brand and a platform that attracts thousands a day, who cares? Go for it. In fact, stick a slider inside of a slider. You can do that, by the way, and I don't recommend you do this, but if you create a slider as a template and then add slides to your homepage, and within the first slide, you add in the shortcode for the template, you did know you can have a slider within a slider. You did know this, right? You can have a slider within a slider within a slider. Oh, brain freeze. Don't ever do that, but you could do it. But they can get away with that. We are not that. Well, we're not attracting thousands a day, are we? Come on, we love to think. We go to bed hoping tomorrow our website's going to be worth millions, but that's not reality at the moment. But so have a stop and a think about that. And like I said, I don't mind sliders. Just be careful how you use them. Think about your images. Think about the layout. Think about the theme. In fact, this kind of applies to your entire website, okay? If you have your logo looking a certain way, you want to make sure that your slider, your images, the content in your website, etc., kind of flows back to the logo. The logo should relate to your domain. The domain is your brand, okay? The website is your brand. Look after the brand, love it, and care for it, and it will love and care back for you, which is not entirely true because your website will probably go down on you. Websites never care for us, but you want to care and look out for it. I mean, has anyone got any stories about sliders that they want to share at all? You know, and please do. Don't worry, even though your name is up there, don't worry. If you feel like, God, you talk so much, put it down there. I love to have feedback about how you're finding these videos and what we're doing here with these live chats and things. So with slides, I don't want to keep repeating myself over it. Just bear in mind that, you know, have a think about your page speed insights. And I would say that if you have got a website with slides on, run a page speed insight test, right? And don't just run it once, run it 5 times, okay? Run it, copy the URL, open 4 more windows and run. And then look at the average of the scores, because depending on your server speed, your scores will go, you know, like a heart monitor, flatline, okay? Have a look at that, okay? Then do it. Did I say do it without the slide? Yeah, do it without the slide. Then do it with the slide. Then do it without the slide again, just so you get a bit of a, like, you're able to see before, after, and before, back again, okay? Make sure that you purge, you know, your cache and all of that each time as well. Not a bad idea to regenerate your CSS as well, but make sure you do that because you will notice the hit. And if you don't notice a hit, I'd be surprised. You know, I would say, are you sure? But if you don't see a massive hit, then you can start to make a decision over how important it is. And please do test out on a mobile phone when you do have a slide. You know, try and get someone to look at it who is not your friend or family or the client, because they will go, wow, this is the craziest, most amazing thing ever. No, try and get someone who's actually very objective about websites and go, what do you think about this? Because if the text is not clear, they're going to point it out and let you know. So Petrus has said, a functional website for a specific audience, and if a little slow, it's not serious. If you want to grow your site and want new people using it, then your suggestion on layout and speed is critical. Absolutely. Yeah, because there are some. Okay, so every night, I'm telling you a secret now. Every night before I go to bed, I'll be on my phone checking out Elementor and what's happening on the forum. But there are 3 websites I go to every night before I go sleep because I want to check them out. Comingsoon.net, because I'm a geek, right? Look, Iron Man, everyone's there. Even got Optimus Prime there. I love my comics. I love my movies. I love to know what's going on. I love to know. I go to thisismoney.co.uk as well because I want to check out what's happening in the market. And I also go to techradar.com because I want to know about new tech. Techradar.com has the most annoying slider ever. I hate it. Thisismoney.co.uk does not have a slider. I like it. Comingsoon.net, my favorite film movie geek website. Have you ever been there? The slider is super rubbish. I had to think about what I could say there, but it's rubbish. It goes too quick. There's too much text, so you haven't even read it before it's moved. It just doesn't look great. On the desktop, it's better because you can see 3 of them sometimes, but on the mobile, it is utter rubbish. I hate it. I hate the fact that when you try and view it, this massive pop-up appears, and the pop-up is always of a video of someone doing something which is nothing to do with movies. I don't want to know about insurance. What the heck's this got to do with movies, you sellouts? But because I love the website, I still go to it. So, you know, they have their good website, doesn't matter. But the speed of their website, I have emailed them a few times and said, you know, your speed is affected by this. The page takes sometimes 3 or 4 seconds to load up properly. It loads and then there's a bit of a jitter, like judders a bit. Sometimes it's quick, sometimes it's slow. But yeah, like Petrus has said, because it's got a huge following and it is so popular worldwide, okay, they can get away with it. Some client websites, okay, they've got a slider on and it loads up, the header appears, and it takes about 1 to 2 seconds delay before the slider appears. And I've said to them, you might as well have just stuck a 50 megabyte video onto your website at the top, because that would also take about 1 or 2 seconds. And they feel like, well, it doesn't matter. Who cares? 1 or 2 seconds. I don't care. And I go, yeah, but you're not someone who's not going to be, you're someone who's invested in your website. So you would wait. Of course you're going to wait. But someone who doesn't know you, who's found you on LinkedIn or whatever, or they are someone who are very technical able and they like to have things on there, you know, ready to go and do things, that 1 or 2 seconds could kill off the interest in your website. So yeah, totally agree, Petrus. You're absolutely right. And get to the point on your website. Okay, if you have seen our courses or you have seen some of our videos, some of the things we do keep saying is, who are you? Like literally, who are you? What is your business about? Why should I care? Why should I take interest of you? What is your story? Why are you here? Headline image with a headline statement with a call to action could do it, right? If you're selling trainers, you want to have your best selling or your latest brand new trainer with a headline that says, these will help you to run 300 miles per hour. Get it now, kind of thing. You won't be able to focus on that and go, I need it. Not, now we're looking at bags. Was there trainers before? No, I think it was scarves. Oh, I've forgotten. Oh, I've got to slide. Oh, I can't be bothered to slide. My fingers are stuck underneath my sofa. Because that's a really rubbish example, isn't it? One day we will get to the point where we just have to look at the phone or the screen and it will slide forwards automatically based on our eyes. Okay, it is coming. Skynet is here. But at the moment, it's not there. So, just have a think about it. Yeah, sliders, they're okay, but do not overuse them and do not use them too much. But like I said, have it further down on the page. All right, because we're going to be designing a new website very soon, and I've already decided we will have our bold images, we'll have our text and icon boxes, and then we might have a couple of sliders. And this is where you can be clever by adding in some animation without adding in a motion effects. You can have a slider that flows left to right. Okay, so it just goes like that smoothly. And underneath, you could have another one doing this. Because I have almost like 2 different rows of images. One about products, one about something else. And they're just flowing, right? They're not there. They haven't got text on them. There's no call to action button. It's just like a video reel running through the middle of the website or whatever. Because that's the other thing as well. Not only are you asking me to click on the slide to go back or forth, you're now asking me to click on it to go somewhere else. Okay, and I just think you're asking too much of us. Okay, especially when it's 11 o'clock at night, which it is not. I'm on UK time, so it's now nearly 9 p.m. But at 11 p.m. at night, you're sat in bed, you just want to look at the website, and you're expecting me now. I'm lying in bed, remember, right? I'm lying back. My head's on the pillow. I've got the phone up here. This hand is probably just down here, like just slumped off by the side. And now I've got to go like that. Oh, this is too much effort. I haven't even brushed my teeth. And you expect me to use my muscles? I am very overdramatic. And I probably slightly amplify and exaggerate a point a little bit. But I hope I'm getting that across, So just think about your end user at the end of the day. It is 6 minutes to 9. We've got 6 minutes left. So has anyone got any questions they want to ask about sliders or performance or just generally anything to do with Elementor related with sliders? I mean, have Elementor got any plans at the moment for doing anything with sliders? Not really. There's many questions where people are struggling to create a bespoke slider. They want to have some icons and do something funky. And this is where I keep saying to them, use the testimonial carousel. Okay. Testimonial carousel is not just for testimonials. Use the tabs to add in your short code for your templates, and you can create a totally bespoke slider. Okay. because the Elementor slider is just one slide, unless you do a slide within a slide, but let's not go there. But use the testimonial carousel, because you can be really, really funky with that. Okay, you know, I don't know how to explain it, but it's quite powerful in what you can do with that, you know. And also sometimes have a think about your layout. So you might have your section or your page, right? And you tend to put your slider kind of going across the full width of the page. You're going to have some headlines here, right? Some text and one image right here. And then in the column 2, which might be 66% of your page, you could have a slider there. That slider might now move left to right. But to the right or to the left of it, you have got a static image, right? With your headline, with your call to action button. So when you view it on the mobile, because your column 1 is now above column 2, your page speed insight score won't be as affected as much, because you've got your image, your headline, your call to action, and then below the fold is where you have the slider. So again, you can get around it by just thinking differently. 33% for your static, 66.666% for the slider. Yeah, cheers, thanks Virginia. Yeah, best tip there. Because I'm talking so much, I'm probably going, what bit did she mean best tip was for? Maybe she was talking about the bit where I said I amplify and exaggerate everything. So that was a great tip there, yes. No, but yeah, you know, that is a way of how you could split the screen up a bit, 50-50 as well if you so want. So have a think about it if you really want to keep that slider up. But of course, don't do anything I'm saying without thinking about your wireframe, about what you're trying to get across to viewers. What is the client or you as if it's your website, what are you trying to get across? Your brand, your messaging. You know, you got 3 seconds and a little bit to kind of hook people in before they hit the X and go elsewhere. Yeah, so don't overcomplicate it. Don't confuse them. Testimonials, yes, testimonial. Yeah, I'm really, really surprised at how many people don't realize that's what you can use it for. And I do feel like Elementor really need to shout out about that a lot more, because testimonial carousel, your brain goes, well, it's testimonials. And it's like when I show people that they can have different sized icons and different stuff in there. And I have got a couple of videos on that in our YouTube channel. Go and have a look at that. It kind of blows their mind a bit. Yes, you got to create a template. So if you got 6 slides, that's 6 templates. That's a bit of work, but it's a template, you know. And then anytime you want to change the content, you just go to that template, change it, and it will appear within the carousel. So it's not that difficult. We have 2 minutes left to go. Let's start the countdown. So I hope you've enjoyed this, you know, and if you have got any questions, anything else, please do add it in. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please do let anyone else know about our live chats. You know, anyone who's interested in Elementor or WordPress and websites. You know, we are always trying to keep up to date with Elementor. I'm now part of the Elementor Educators program as well. So that's great. So I'm getting a bit more insight and knowledge into things as well. And if I do find out there's something new coming out, I will share it with you. And by the way, version 4 for Elementor Pro, which is out now in the beta or the beta mode. Okay, if you are going to update to that, make sure you got a backup. Make sure you do it on a staging site first. But if anyone has got a WooCommerce shop and you've wanted to kind of stylize the cart, so when you click on cart, it pops up as a sidebar or an off-canvas pop-up, you can now stylize it. So it's a really great feature. But what this means, most importantly, you no longer need to use Astra with Elementor to get that pop-up for the cart. You can now do it with Hello. So really, really do consider using just Hello with Elementor if you really want to get the best out of your page speed insight, next to nothing bloat, and you want your website to run as smooth as melting ice cream leaking out of a freezer that someone left open. We are now down to the final 15 seconds. So I hope this has been fun. I hope you like the new layout for the office, but please do let me know if you found any of these lights a little bit too bright, because I'm still trying to work out the best layout for them at the moment. But look, this has been really, really good fun. It's now 9 o'clock. Take care, and we shall see you very soon. I'm now going to hit end stream, so if I'm still talking, really sorry. But hey, look, you take care.